Have you ever wondered why a man can be surrounded by beauty, charm, even temptation, and still find himself utterly consumed by just one woman? Here's the shocking truth. Men don't become addicted to beauty. Those things ignite quickly, but they fade just as fast. A man may admire the curve of a body, the thrill of a night, the excitement of a kiss, but none of these are strong enough to chain his mind. What truly captures him is something invisible, something he can't fully explain, something that slips past logic and lands deep inside his subconscious. And once it's there, it grows. He doesn't just want this woman, he needs her presence, her energy, her approval, her very existence in his orbit. It feels less like attraction and more like a silent dependency, a hunger that lingers long after she's gone. I mean, let's think about this. If men were solely addicted to beauty, every gorgeous woman you meet would drive you to obsession. But that's not the case. You've seen it happen before. Women with killer looks, infinite talent, and everything society says a man should want. But instead, the guy just disappears. Meanwhile, in a seemingly normal woman, she awakens an intensity he can't seem to shake. He ponders her in the still hours. He compares the others to her, and they come up short. She becomes the standard. Why? Because there exists a hidden switch in the male mind, an ancient mechanism, deeply wired, that decides whether a woman is forgettable or unforgettable. This switch is not activated by a perfect body, or even by flawless compatibility. It is activated by something far rarer, something he cannot get from everyone, something so powerful it rewires his brain's reward system. This is not about a trick. It's not about playing games, withholding affection, or pretending to be someone you're not. No, this is about the most potent psychological catalyst of all, a silent drug that doesn't just attract a man's body, but captures his mind and his very sense of self. In the following chapters, we're going to reveal what this mental drug is, why it works, and how it turns a man's casual curiosity into unrelenting desire. For the moment, the most important thing to take away from this is, beauty might get his attention, and passion may bring him closer into your embrace, but only if you have this can it bind him to you in a way that agonizes like destiny. Every man carries within him an ancient mechanism, an invisible switch that determines whether he will see a woman as a passing desire or as someone he cannot let go of. Neuroscience calls it the limbic system, the primal center of the brain that governs emotion, memory, and attachment. Jung called it something deeper, the unconscious forces that pull us toward people who awaken archetypal patterns inside us. The way I think about it is this: the male brain is constantly filtering experiences. A woman might attract him, her appearance, her voice, her magic, but that is but skin deep. Beauty arouses the senses, but it doesn't make it past the deeper test. The limbic system runs that test automatically, silently inquiring, does this person speak to my survival, my growth, my purpose? If the answer is no, she becomes a memory that slowly drifts away. But if the answer is yes, something strange occurs. His brain doesn't just register attraction, it rewires itself. Neurochemically, oxytocin and dopamine surge when a man feels seen and mirrored in a way that touches his unconscious self. This isn't about appearance, it's about resonance. A woman who triggers this resonance doesn't just light up his desire. She embeds herself into his emotional memory, where logic has no power to erase her. Carl Jung would argue that what feels like love at first sight is actually the activation of this inner switch, the recognition of an archetype that has always lived in his psyche. To the man, it feels like destiny. To his brain, it's chemistry. To his unconscious, it's home. But here's the question that keeps haunting us. Why don't some women, no matter how else they perform beauty, seem to ever tip into this territory? Why are they desired, sometimes hunted, only to be abandoned the moment their lust annulled? And why do others bring on the condition, often unbidden, of an obsession so deep that a man can't get out of his head her words, or the space she takes up in a room, or her energy. The answer lies in that ancient switch. Most women ignite desire, but only a few activate attachment. It's not beauty, not perfection, not even compatibility. It's something far more elusive, something that makes his limbic brain whisper, "This one matters." For centuries, society has sold us a lie about what truly captures a man's heart. We've been told it's beauty, that flawless skin, the perfect body, or youth itself is the secret. And yes, those things spark desire. They ignite flames, but flames, no matter how bright, burn out. Here's the misunderstood truth. None of these things alone make a man stay. None of them create that unshakable attachment where he feels he's found something irreplaceable. Because what a man craves deep in his psychology is not just pleasure, it's significance. And the contributing factor that makes him matter so much is one single word: admiration. Admiration is not flattery. It is not pretending. It's when a man believes that a woman can see the strength within him, the potential he is unsure of, the battles only he fights quietly each and every day. When he feels her respect, that she knows who he is and who he could be, his brain takes it as validation at the very core of his existence. This is where Jungian psychology and neuroscience meet. In Jung's view, every man wrestles with his archetype, the warrior, the king, the protector, the creator. When a woman reflects back admiration, she awakens that archetype. He doesn't just feel wanted, he feels called. And neurologically, the limbic system rewards this recognition with surges of dopamine, binding admiration to pleasure, creating loyalty that no physical attraction alone could produce. This is why a man can admire countless beautiful women, but become addicted to the one who admires him. Beauty may attract him, but admiration transforms him. It makes him want to protect, to commit, to rise higher, because suddenly he is not just with a woman. He is standing before a mirror that reflects his best self. The tragedy is that women are taught to pursue perfection in appearance when the real truth was always there, in the energy. A woman who exudes admiration doesn't need to, because she accesses the oldest reality in male psychology. Men don't bond through beauty. They bond through women who make them feel admired. Attraction is powerful, but it is also temporary. It's the spark that lights up when a man sees beauty, charm, or sensuality. It excites him, makes him lean forward, makes his pulse quicken. But like all sparks, it burns fast and fades quickly. Admiration, on the other hand, is not a spark, it's a flame that grows stronger with time. It doesn't just touch his senses, it transforms his identity. Attraction makes him want a moment. Admiration makes him crave a lifetime. Woman A is breathtaking. When she enters the room, every head turns. She knows how to draw attention, how to tease, how to make a man desire her. And for a while, it works. He is consumed with wanting her. But after the excitement fades, he begins to wonder, what else is there? And slowly, the bond unravels. And now, woman B, she is not the most beautiful on first impression. But when she speaks to him, she sees more than just the surface. She sees his effort. She sees his intelligence, his hidden strength. She respects, not blindly, in jest or flattery, but with truth. Suddenly, he doesn't just want her body. He wants to rise up to the image she reflects. He starts to ask, am I worthy of her respect? Am I being the man she sees? This is the shift. Attraction whispers, I want her. Admiration whispers louder, I must become more for her. And that shift rewires his inner narrative, binding his desire not only to passion, but to purpose. It was Carl Jung who said that we are attracted to people who can reflect back to us the parts of ourselves that we can't see on our own. Admiration does exactly that. It awakens in him the hero, the king, the protector that lies dormant. And when he feels that reflection, loyalty becomes deeper than lust. This is how admiration endures longer than attraction. Attraction satisfies the body. Admiration elevates the soul. One dies when the excitement is over. The one flares more brightly with every moment shared. One of the most dangerous myths women are told is this: don't be too much. Don't be too smart, too independent, too successful, because it might intimidate a man. Society whispers this fear into women's ears, convincing them to dim their light so they can be chosen. But here's the truth: intimidation is not the problem. The problem is misunderstanding what actually binds a man to you. Carl Jung frequently talked about the polarity, the dance of male and female energy. The masculine will to provide, the hunt and the protective instincts. The feminine, when it is least inhibited, is inspired by and receives and reflects. That does not mean weakness, and it certainly doesn't mean shrinking. Actually, it means the opposite. A woman who stands completely in her power and radiance activates the masculine instinct within a man. What freezes him isn't her success, it's when respect isn't there. Let's make this real with a story. Sophia is brilliant, accomplished, and confident. But when she's with men, she uses her success like a shield. Every conversation becomes a contest, every achievement a weapon. Men admire her accomplishments, but they never feel admired in return. For Sophia, attraction fades quickly because she confuses respect for competition. Now, Laura happens to be intelligent and accomplished, but she doesn't conceal it, even as she weaponizes it. When she talks to a man, she doesn't shrink, but neither does she attempt to dominate. She appreciates what he envisions, the work he puts in, his abilities, all while fiercely realizing her own. And this is what happens. Men don't get scared, they get hotted up instead. They don't ask, am I enough? They wonder, how can I rise to her? Do you see the difference? Success doesn't repel men, but when success lacks admiration, it feels like rivalry, and rivalry kills intimacy. Jung would say Sophia lives in her animus, her inner masculine, while Laura balances both energies, allowing space for the man's masculine to breathe. This is the trap of intimidation. It's not your light that pushes men away, it's when your light blinds instead of inspires. A man doesn't need you to shrink. He needs to feel that in your brilliance, there is also space for his own. Imagine yourself as a fire, not the flicker of a candle, desperate for protection from the wind, but a steady flame, radiant, self-sustaining. This is the essence of the mental drug. It doesn't come from tricks, tactics, or carefully memorized lines. It comes from within authenticity, passion, and self-respect. Far too many times, people pursue love by bending, twisting, or cleaving themselves in order to be seen as the desired object of the other. But a fire which is maintained with fuel borrowed from others will always be going out. Jung would call this living out of the persona, living not from your true self, but from a mask. And masks are never conduits of lasting devotion. Here's the reality. A man is not addicted to you in your absence. You turn him into a junkie for the guy he is when he's with you. When your fire burns brightly, when you live with conviction, joy, and dignity, you reflect back to him his own potential. Your energy tells his unconscious, this is who you can be beside me. Think about it. A man might be drawn to beauty, but beauty alone does not challenge him to grow. He may be drawn to charm, but charm alone doesn't demand his best. But stand before him as someone who respects herself, who pursues her passions, who radiates a life already full, and suddenly he feels something deeper. He doesn't just want to have you, he wants to rise to meet you. This is the fire within, the energy that doesn't beg for attention, doesn't manipulate for affection, and doesn't fear being alone. It's magnetic because it's real, and it's precisely this authenticity that turns admiration into devotion. Jung once wrote, The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. That's the secret. Not to shrink, not to perform, but to stand in your truth. Because the man who matters isn't searching for perfection, he's searching for the mirror that reflects his higher self. And that mirror is lit by your fire. So build your flame, nurture it, protect it. Let it grow so bright that when a man stands before it, he doesn't just think, I want her. He thinks, I want to become more because of her. That is the real addiction. At the end of it all, everything comes down to a choice that will shape not only your relationships, but your entire life. Two paths stretch out before you. The first path is the one most are pressured to take. Dimming your light, you tone down your brilliance so others won't feel insecure. You silence your voice so you won't seem too much. You trade authenticity for approval, and for a moment, it feels safe. But deep inside, you know what you've sacrificed. The fire within. You've become a flicker, fragile, dependent on the wind. The second way is not the easy way, but it's the only one worth taking, shining in your own truth. This is the way of self-respect, the way of passion, and the way of no apologies. Here, we don't have love to beg, we radiate it. You don't pursue approval, you are the embodiment of it. And because your fire is real, it attracts others. The man who matters does not simply admire you, he transforms when he's with you. He doesn't feel stuck, he feels alive. Carl Jung taught that the greatest tragedy is to live someone else's life instead of becoming who you truly are. And the greatest victory is to live so authentically that your very presence inspires transformation in others. That is the mental drug. Not manipulation, not games, but the raw power of being fully alive, fully you. So here's the final decision. Will you dim your flame for comfort, or will you dare to be the fire? Remember, men don't become addicted to beauty alone, or charm, or even passion. They become addicted to the best version of themselves that awakens in your light. Be the fire, not the flicker. Stand tall, shine brightly, and watch how the right man cannot look away. If this message stirred something in you, if it awakened a truth you've always felt but never put into words, then don't let it fade. Subscribe, share this with someone who needs it, and join this journey of transformation. Because the world doesn't need more flickers, it needs more flames. And your fire starts now.